Hey y'all, it's my first video since I made 1,000 subscribers, and as you see, you can only see my eyes because I wanted y'all to see the little congratulations and 1,000 subs. So I wanted to go live with Kelly's video, but with Kelly's video, you already know hi hi guys. So with Kelly's video, you already know it's I want to share the screen, so it doesn't give me the opportunity to go live yet. I don't know. I need a program for that. I'm searching into it. So any suggestions, let me know. Um, so today I'm bringing the shaping of Kelly Rowland's career. Papa, close the door for me, please, and don't make no noise because I'm making my video now. No noise. You hear me, Papa? Papa, no noise. Um, this video is the shaping of Kelly Rowland's career. Matthew Knowles' strategy to make Kelly cater to an overseas pop audience. And I believe this is what contributes to her blackballing by black media in the US. So, as you can see, there's a congratulations sign. I'm having a party because I got my first 1,000 subscribers. So, as you see, we have the 1,000 up here because we're super excited about it now. Oh, hi. So you're watching Cafeteria Lab with Ramona in the Fatigable Heights. And put my table down so you can see me now. Yeah, so you still get to see my congratulations sign and my 1,000 subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Labrishers. Thank you so much, Cafeteria Labrish. Thank you so much, YouTube. Thank you so much for everybody that believes in me, is watching me, and has decided to hit the like, share, subscribe button. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can get a notification every time I go live and I add a new video, which I'll be going live hopefully today. I wanted to go live with Kelly's video, but as I said, I want to do the screen sharing. So there's other tea that I want to bring. So I'm going to go live and bring that tea today. Don't, guys, I already told y'all, don't be roasting my eyes. You know, the bags under my eyes. Yeah, the bags. I do have hyperthyroid / Graves' disease, and so it gives me these bags. But I already told y'all, as soon as sis finds the right Botox doctor, we're gonna get some Botox. We're gonna get some work done. We might not get, the fake body because I don't know if I'm really in today, and then my spirituality doesn't really. I think I'm too old, and I think if I was gonna do that, I would have did that a long time ago. My spirituality is not gonna allow that to happen in this present time. So let's move on and talk about Kelly. Set a timer for 45 minutes. All right. So the shaping of Kelly Rowland's career. Matthew Knowles' strategy to make Kelly cater to an overseas pop audience. In the books I've read, all characters and even Kelly herself paint Kelly as not good enough. I'm just going to give you some examples of that. Darla Johnson, dance instructor for one of the original groups of Destiny Child. They were Girls Time, they were Click for a Moment, they were um, a number of different names. I might bring out some other ones. We talked about that in the last Kelly Rowland episode, but now this is part 2. I think it's going to be maybe a 4-part series because I just have a lot of information to bring, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring it all at once. All right, so Darla says, all the girls were pretty good dancers, but Kelly, Lord have mercy, bless her heart, she just couldn't dance. Beyonce wouldn't dance out of her costume if you let her, but Kelly would struggle to. Beyonce would dance out of her costume if you let her, but Kelly would struggle to learn the routines. One thing I will say though is that the girls would help each other. They weren't going to let her fall short, so they assisted her in learning the moves. Eventually, dancing became second nature to her, just as it was with the other girls. They were truly a team, and Matthew made sure of that. During rehearsal, they wouldn't be done until he said they were done, not until things were done right. I remember him telling, all right, someone else goes on to say, um, They worked under him and his company, Silent Partner Production. The girl, another name for Destiny Child before in the beginning was the Dolls. They girls became the Dolls, and they signed to a production deal with Daryl Simmons and Silent Partner Productions. Silent Partner Productions then did a production deal with Elektra Records. So that's the order. When that deal ended with Daryl, the girls came back to Houston. There was a minute when we had to stop because Beyonce had really worn out her vocals. And Mari, I told you no noise. There was a minute when we had to stop because Beyonce had really worn out her vocals when they were the Dolls and they were in the studio. Daryl really leaned on Beyonce to do the lead vocals as well as the background vocals. As was said about that phase when they were the Dolls, Daryl was somewhat disappointed at times with Kelly, so Beyonce had to carry the load of the group vocally. When she got back to Houston, she had really damaged her vocals, and we had to take her to one of the top vocal specialists in the country, which we were lucky was here in the Houston Medical Center. All right. For me, I always got the impression that Kelly struggled with that. I always got the impression that there could have been some issues. I don't know if jealousy is the right word or not, understanding what her purpose was in this world, but I always kind of felt like there was a problem there because people singled out Beyonce so incredibly much when they were together. I kind of saw that play out a little bit in her first solo project, just her desire to want to be a big star here in America when really her traction was in Europe and Australia. She didn't seem to appreciate that or want to maximize those opportunities because she wanted to have this big urban hit here in America. I'm going to stop right there and I'm just going to say, I just get a little confused when I'm reading these things because I'm just like, Girl was born in the US, right? So that's her audience is the US where she was born. Like, unless it's marketing, like the team behind her that pushes her to do something, then I would definitely say her audience is where she come from. That's her first audience. Is she from Houston? She was born in Georgia, wherever in the United States of America that she was born and raised. That's her audience. If she has attraction in Europe and Australia, it's because her music was marketed to that area um, very much, and because of that, uh, it built up that audience for her and that fan base that she probably wouldn't have had if they weren't pushing her music to that market. Okay. All right. So there were issues on that front with Kelly. I did work with Michelle's first gospel release. In fact, we did this huge promo for her album during the Essence Music Festival, and she actually got a number one album out of that. We did this big mobile advertising promo for her, and a week later, she was number one on the gospel charts. I wouldn't say that I worked as closely with Michelle, and this is to show you like different people speaking and telling you like what they thought of Kelly, like what, and this information is coming from Matthew Knowles' book, the unauthorized biography of Matthew Knowles, um, The Making of Destiny Child, I believe the book name is, and I'm reading the other book. I finished the other book, the authorized biography, Soul Survivors, the authorized biography of Destiny Child. I want to do the video. I don't really want to make it about Beyonce, but I'm just going to show you how marketing was done to create Beyonce the product and put the other girls to another demographic. All right. When they arrived in Atlanta, they were assigned tutors and were temporarily assigned to two producers to assist with production, Tim and Bob. Their assignment was to start producing songs for the girls, and then Daryl would critique for the work afterwards. At that time, Daryl had a huge workload and was tremendously busy in the studio producing such acts as Monica and SWV. His production partnerships with LaFace Records, L.A. Reid, and Babyface allowed him to work with such luminaries as Boyz II Men, TLC, Toni Braxton, and others. As Daryl spent more time with the girls, he could hear during studio time that Kelly was not nearly as developed as a singer as he'd like. When he made it known, Beyonce would step in and say, "Give her a chance, just one more chance." Beyonce was very selfless in that way. She was the Kelly Rowland, guys. Remember, we already did her background in part one. So if you didn't catch it, go back on my YouTube and check out my Kelly Rowland part one video where we do her history and everything. This is the second part in the series, so we're jumping into it, the shaping of her career. There's also a general consensus out there that the girls or Beyonce is older than what they purported to be, and this may be a marketing ploy to make them younger because that's what the industry was looking for: young girls singing big woman songs, young girls singing grown women lyrics, young girls catering to grown men. It's kind of like what the industry is about. So I had a little production label at that time called Boom City. I did a few deals, with some majors like Universal that at that time was called Polygram. I had my lines there and I had some dope management. These are some of the managers that they went through and the dance instructors and the instructors and Matthew Knowles and everybody else speaking. So at that time was called Polygram. I had my lines there and I had some dope management. I had managers that were managing Meatloaf and Duran and Richard Marx, a lot of pop groups. And I think the Tonys were more of the urban to that. We're doing pretty well. So I think when I look back at it now, I think that's probably one of the only reasons Matthew knows to want to deal with me because I had organization around me. I had organized people around me. I was a studio rat at that time. Matthew said, I'm really interested in working with you. I said, okay, what's the group? I'd never really heard any of their material. He sent me a cassette and I put it in. About a minute and a half or two later, I listened to this voice. I had to call him back. I was like, hey, man, I ain't stupid. These ain't no 13 and 14-year-olds, man. He kept saying they were kids. And I was like, okay, whatever. All right. So just to give you a little bit of information about what people think about the old Destiny Child and the back in the day um, talent that they were giving. Um, on this video, this is the Destiny Child's performing, and someone says, "Is it true? It is true that Beyonce has been lying about her age. She's at least 25 years in this video. She's at least 46 years old now." Um, And guys, just to remember, everything that I'm giving you is for entertainment purposes. It's information that I've collected from the books that I'm reading and information all over the internet, and I just put it together for entertainment purposes. Everything is allegedly, and nothing has been established to be fact. But I'm just giving you what I've seen and what I've compiled, and what I believe about the shaping of Kelly Rowland's career. Anything I speak about Cafetier Lavish about myself is factual and is true. Anything I speak about any entertainers is allegedly based upon what we have put together. All right, so let's just talk about Kelly. Kelly's vocal range is with the best of the best, as per Wiki and based on the previous undervaluing, maybe even better. Um, I pulled up a Wikipedia with what Kelly Rowland's vocal range is. She's a 3 octave vocal range, and here her name is on the Wikipedia list of the 3 octave vocal range. I think it's higher. I think it may be a 3.5 or a 4 because I think that she's been severely undervalued. And that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing this because I want to bring attention to Kelly Rowland, bring attention to her career so we can, you know, um, have her, like, I want to have Kelly come um, out and be one of the entertainers that we're looking for at all times to be bringing good quality music. Like, I want to concentrate on her career. I want to concentrate on, bringing her to the forefront instead of leaving her behind as they have been left behind the other members of Destiny's Child for severely long. All right, so this video was a video I found on YouTube where they were asking Latoya about the remember we did the last video and I mentioned that there was a video where Beyonce Kelly was in the video and this was the MTV special and they were in the room on the bed and the guy at the interviewer asked all the girls to introduce themselves and Kelly says I'm the second lead singer and Beyonce goes like really funny. So this is an interview where they're asking Latoya about the alleged shade that Beyonce threw, in which Latoya was saying she don't think it was really shade or whatever was going on. And someone says Latoya should have been second lead. Her voice was way more powerful than Kelly's, but Kelly sounds more like Beyonce. And somebody says, no, you need to realize they blended Kelly and Beyonce's voice. Remember I told you they in my initial Kelly Rowland video, I feel like it's Kelly's voice, and that's the reason why their voice sounds so much alike. It's Kelly's voice that they're using, and I don't know what they've done with the voice to give it a different sound for when Beyonce uses it, but let's catch this tea. All right, so Bunny Carrot Baby on Instagram says, on a comment to some information says, fun fact, if you didn't already know, The high notes sung in Emotions by Destiny's Child was Kelly, which I could totally catch a tea. That the whole emotion song to me sounds like Kelly Rowland. Like Michelle's verse, you know it because you know her voice, but the rest of the song is her. He says, and during their concerts, whenever they performed it, Kelly always hit it, never missed. Kelly does carry the group vocally. I remembered in their Destiny's Child fan book, they revealed that. I read the book. I didn't see they. I didn't catch that tea. I did read the Destiny's Child fan book, the book they made about soul survivors, which a book was made because they had so many. They had lost Latoya and Latavia, and then they lost Farrah in Destiny's Child lost Farrah in rapid succession allegedly. So they made the book so that they could, explain away that it wasn't Beyonce's fault and it was really Matthew who made the decisions and, how the girls felt and try to put Beyonce in a good light. As far as I can see, I don't. The book is. I need more. I need more. I need more. Okay, so I guess that makes me dislike Matthew even more because he made sure that even though that was Kelly's high notes, they had Beyonce lip that part. Yeah, and it's so messed up how in their early albums, Kelly really was the second lead singer. Her vocals was placed in a lot of places to back and enhance Beyonce's vocals. You hear it mainly in their Destiny's Child album, the first one. Not sure how true it is, but I heard it was because Latoya and Latavia didn't sing anything but the chorus. Yeah, as far as the book, the unauthorized biography, and also the Soul Survivor book, Latoya and Latavia weren't doing that much singing. Latavia was definitely a backup dancer. She was a dancer that they placed in position because of her like appeal and her character and her personality and her charm. They said, like allegedly, that's why they placed her in the group. She wasn't really a singer. I do believe Latoya was singing, but I don't believe she was a great singer like that. And I do see where, as the other commenter stated, they blended their voices. It's the same. It's the same thing. That's kind of like what I'm saying. Papa, no nice, no nice, no nice. That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, it seems like they put the two voices together, and that's what they did to create this sound and give Beyonce this great sound. And I don't know if she can sing because I keep going back to Trick Daddy saying Beyonce can't sing, and then I'm going back to the people coming out with a whole video with Trick Daddy being like woman bashing or whatever, and the whole world was about to turn on him. And I think that was a warning. Like, do not talk about Beyonce. Shut up. Anyway, moving on. So, this producer was requesting some music, and he says he heard some music from Destiny Child at the time, whatever their name was. And he says someone was executing those notes just like Michael Jackson in the chorus, I want to be where you are, oh, which is an octave. I wanted to know who was singing that because it was so precisely like Michael Jackson would do it. And that's Kelly. They're saying it was Beyonce, but I'm not buying it. I'm here for what in the world of Ashanti and J-Lo happened in Destiny Child, honey. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. I'm just going to say that part. So he says to Teresa, I said, I really like this. So tell me the story about these. She was like, well, it's a group of girls. It's about, I don't know if they were 6 at a time or if it was a 4, but I knew she was like, it's a group of girls. She was like, the girls singing that song. Her father is the manager. This is the marketing ploy. He was the marketer. Even if it was Kelly singing that song and Kelly's mom, for some reason, had signed her over based upon the books, they say it was because she went to live somewhere else and this and that. I don't think she was because I will move on forward. Um, but they marketed themselves like he marketed them to say, okay, I am the one behind the voice, and without this is the voice, Beyonce. She says the girl singing that song, her father's a manager, so she's giving me kind of the 411 on the group's background, and she says they're really talented, they're young, and I like the songs they sing really well. He said I will very much like to present them in my presentation to Sony next month. Is there a way you can get me a video? She said, yeah. I think can probably go down and tape one for you. That particular video is an infamous video that was shown on Behind the Music that was very popular because Matthew is kind of scolding the girls for swimming the night before and being a little nasally. All right, so they talk about that in the unauthorized biography and they talk about that in the Soul Survivor book. So that tells me that when they made the video for this presentation. The singing wasn't that great. I'm gonna find that video because I did not, and I didn't look at it. The singing was not that great from Beyonce, and the reason is because it's Kelly's voice. So that's the reason why he had to stop them, and he had to this and that allegedly, allegedly, allegedly. Sip tea, honey. Somebody says on one of the video performances for the Destiny's Child early video performances that you can find on YouTube. Wonder why Beyonce always lips the first verse to Independent Woman and has been using the same track for over 10 years. Hmm, 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 hmm. Wonder why Beyonce always lips the first verse to Independent Woman and has been using the same track for over 10 years. 10 years, the same track, no changes. Oh no. There's your tea, baby, with a cookie on the side. Catch that tea and go figure it out. I ain't got enough for you. I done gave y'all the tea. I done brought what I needed to be brought. Here's Kelly looking so zen, of course, which she always does because she is the voice. Need I say more? Okay, so Matthew's strategy was to make Beyonce the star of a girl group who goes solo, but because he controlled all the girls, he shaped them out of her way. All right, so this guy is saying we looked at things different in different ways. I had to let him know later on in life, like, dude, I was nothing but a producer. I didn't know shit about all that stuff. So I was like a deer in the headlights when it came to the producing part and the branding part that Matthew was doing, a branding Beyonce. He said, so I was pretty much learning from you guys at the same time. But we got into one thing when I was like, well, if Beyonce is the one singing and everything, how come you just didn't bring me a solo artist? And Matthew says, he was like, we'll worry about that later. They'll be better when they get older to go out and go solo. I already have a strategy for that. For now, that's a group. Having them as a group is more practical. I took that into my vault until this day. Today, I look into my vault, he says. He says, another thing he also showed me, I mean, like this dude showed me so much marketing stuff. See, Matthew Knowles is a businessman. He was a marketer. He worked in the marketing industry. He just created a product and marketed really well. He says, and he was not trying to show me. I was just paying attention. The simple thing of them covering classic songs. He was like, I want you to do these tracks. I want you to cover this and that. So I learned a lot from that. I got to say, I never went for the name for the group, Destiny, and I ain't gonna lie, I didn't feel it at first. Why? Because I used to play behind a vocal group in Oakland called Destiny, and them dudes used to kill me. I didn't tell her that. I was like, okay, all right, that's cool, that's cool. Then about 2 days later, she calls back, we got it, Destiny's Child. I said, thank you. I never told them about that. Like I said, I didn't know all the work that Arnie put in or anyone else because there was like different deals that the girls were a part of and they were signing to different labels and signing to different people and different people were working with them, making music with them. And then it wouldn't work out. They would cut the group, change the name and do all types of things. It was a little, that market employ that Matthew had is how he was running the business of Destiny Child. So this producer is saying, um, they all knew me. I guess they just never stepped to me and told me. But I just went in 100% and brought whatever I knew, like what we did with the Tonys. I brought the same type of engineers, etc., and that's how it worked. But when I got on the phone with Sylvia, she just let me know that, hey, I couldn't do this because of my allegiance to these people that know them, that people that they already signed with. They put money into them. They made albums with them. That did music with them. That were distributing. That were trying to get them better deals. So he says, like Arnie, he says, I was like, okay, but what does that have to do with me? I'm just saying, don't think they're dope. She says, I love them. Just make sure you take care of your business. Take care of your business, right? I said, okay, I'm just a producer. To which she told me they're signed to your production. You got 7 albums, a solo deal, and all that. Me? I didn't know what the fuck I had. I just had a dope attorney. That's all I knew about the business. I just wanted to produce. So when me and Matthew bumped heads, which I really thank God happened to this day, I learned there are no mistakes, only experiences. Take it and roll. I was in over my head. One day, Matthew stepped to me on how he wanted things produced and said, it's my way or no way or whatever. Not knowing how he spoke or worked with a team, he said some words to me and I got offended. I got Oakland in me and it went that way. I ended up doing what's called a settlement. I settled with fewer albums, more control, all on him, and less things that I had to be responsible for, which is beautiful because that was really my opportunity to learn and grow. So it ended up working out better in the end. We learned from Arnie too in that studio over there. We recorded alongside Sly Stone and Rick James. It was like spirits coming out. Okay. All right. More um fan comments from Latoya's interview. Laughing my ass off, these comments kind of bugging. First, Beyonce being in a group was not her idea. The same way we have Spice Girls today, Beyonce met Kelly and Latavia and Latoya at an audition for group, which was of six at first and was created by Daryl Simmons. And at the time, I don't even think Beyonce was the main showrunner. She was a rapper. Second, the only reason we consume Beyonce more is because she has worked way more diligently and because her fair skin gave her an advantage. Laughing my ass off, people seem to forget or obviously don't know that at the time Beyonce became a solo artist, Ashanti and Alicia Keys were bigger than her. Third, after Latoya and Latavia left her, it literally just became Beyonce and the girls because Beyonce was the cute light skinned one. Y'all act like Kelly and Michelle couldn't blow. Another fan says, if you go back and watch a video from every female group back then up until now, I'm telling you, it's not gonna look or feel like what Beyonce and Destiny's Child group had going on. Or is it just me? But I just went back and watched 702, Black Escape, 3LW, Total, and I even watched a few B2K videos. Like we knew who we were, the lead, like we knew who were the lead of all of them. But when you watch them, it's not as obviously bad as it was with this group. Like just this performance alone, I felt so bad for Michelle and Kelly. Just look at them. Please, they look pitiful to me. I'm sorry, but it's just my opinion. I'm sticking to it with no shade. Another commenter says, I agree with that, but if we go back to Destiny's Child debut album, it was not clear who the star was, despite Beyonce being the lead singer. And Mari, I told you about the noise. If you are of a certain age, when they came out, I don't know why I came out here just to celebrate. Yeah, we need to celebrate. I'm celebrating. All right. So, if you're of a certain age when they came out, you would know that people did not gravitate to Beyonce originally. Her stardom was manufactured by her dad. Their second album, Beyonce was strategically placed up front on album covers, more screen time in videos, etc. That's when Matthew came in. In the first album, it was other people that was really running it. Matthew came in the second album. When Fire was in the group, she had to 10. Then it made it easier when it was three members. Kelly and Michelle are unproblematic, so it was super easy to make her star. Nobody isn't saying she's talented, but her stardom was manufactured by her dad. Choo, boop. And that's how we sip that tea, honey. Let's go, Kelly, because we want to make the people know exactly what occurred. All right, so Matthew, no. The producer says, the girls signed to my record company. I didn't have to go out and try to shop them for a deal because that's usually a manager's job. But it was something I did for every unknown group that I work with, and I was used to going around. So all the record company people knew me because I was making hit records for them. So I didn't ever think of myself as a manager of the group. I always thought of the managers as Ann Tillman and Matthew. Catch the tea. I didn't know until much later that Matthew really wasn't their manager in the beginning until eventually he saw that somebody needed to take the reins and move things forward, and he was the guy for it. I always thought Matthew was the right guy for it, even though I was far removed from the politics of what they had to deal with. Because between him and the ladies in the original management company, I can tell you this: I always saw Ann Tillman as kind of like a den mother, someone who was not going to really be able to interface with the record industry and move things forward, but she was someone who was going to watch the girls when they came to San Francisco. All right. Contrary to the shaping of popular belief, Kelly's mom was definitely around, involved, and paying attention to her career. Once I remember the girls doing a sound check for a live performance and the sound just wasn't right. Matthew, and they were young then. They weren't the headliners or anything. He would, I don't care who, where, or what, insist that they were going to get that sound right for Destiny's Child. If Matthew had to, he would go and do it himself. He would cut off right then in the midst of them doing sound check until they would get it right. That may sound simple, but it was very important. It really was. Sometimes some cameramen way back when the girls were like 14 to 15 would have the tendency to try to angle the camera in a certain way, and Matthew would stop it. He was on top of it. He really was. Then I think maybe he appreciated having me there because I acted in the same manner professionally as he would, because again, he traveled with them a lot while I was in the office. I actually remember Kelly's mom coming to the office one day upset about something. I don't remember exactly what it was. When you have a child that's living with someone else, it must have been difficult. I had to really talk to her. So I'm trying to say, like, the woman was coming into the office because she was upset about something. I would want to know what she was upset about. Like, I would want to know, I would want to talk to the parents of the younger girls of Destiny Child. I think we never really got them. And that's the problem that everybody had, the parents. I just had to let her know what was being done was in Kelly's best interest. Managed to track the Knowles down. I think they were in London or whatever. I'm like, you got to get on the phone because I think Kelly's mom, wanted to be more in the loop at the time. Hello. She wanted to be more included. I handled a lot of issues like that. When the group got their first Soul Train Awards, that was huge. Didn't get to take your trophy with you the night off. So when they shipped it out, they shipped Erica Badu's trophy to us. It was like, yeah, our trophy's here, our trophy's here. And then got disappointed that it was Erica's. I remember that as well as their very first Super Bowl appearance. It wasn't a grand halftime show. You know, they have a series of events going on. We all went to Miami and none of them wanted to go out or anything. When they traveled, they went to work and they went back to their hotel rooms. Well, Miami was a little different. All right. The shaping of Beyonce as a lead singer because of her image, which was being carefully created by her mom and dad, leaving the other ladies to fight for themselves. Um, she was a wonderful lady and I really liked her. But I think if Matthew hadn't taken the reins and really made it happen, it wouldn't have happened. That was talking about the original woman that was traveling with them. I think them like the den mother. I think the most significant things that I was able to contribute besides trying to present the group to everyone in the industry were twofold. One, the group as it was presented to me, the nice papa as the lead singer is Ashley Davis, and she was a very good singer actually for her age, but she was a little bit larger than the other girls were. She was the biggest of the six since most of them were pretty small. I expected that Ashley would be a good singer, but not in the front line. I didn't see her as a person who could front a group. She didn't have that kind of personality, and from my point of view, Beyonce sang quite well and had that spark. Beyonce, if I be honest, had the personality, so I insisted when we started doing lead vocals that she become the main lead singer. I found out later that was somewhat controversial within the group. This is this producer talking. Here's Ashley, guys, right here. That's Ashley Davis. Usually it was my practice that less is more, so I probably only sent him three I thought were the best. So this is Prince requesting to hear the girls because they were shopping the Destiny Child girls with Ashley as the lead at the time to Prince. Prince called me up and said, I love this. These girls are great. I would love to sign them. I have my own label, so I'm very interested. Um, Author's note. Later, Ashley as Tamar Davis signed with Prince and became his protege. Here's Ashley Tamar Davis, Prince's protege. Right here beside Prince. See? Right here. So I was very excited about that. Then I had another situation after that, which was also very promising. There was a woman named Susan DePass. Susan was very famous in the record business and in the TV film industry. She was the right hand woman, so to speak, to Barry Gordon, who could convince him to sign this band or don't sign that act. She was basically at Motown to help groups get their stage act together. But she wound up being very influential with Barry, and one of the groups that she told him to sign was the Jackson Five when he didn't want to sign them. He didn't think they were anything special. So Susan got the credit for signing Michael Jackson to Motown Records. Then she went on to produce television shows and she did a series on cable, Lonesome Dove. I said, I understand that, Randy, but the thing is that Beyonce is a star. You even told me some years ago that if you ever come upon a group and the group has a star, sign the group. You just told me that. He was like, yeah, I just don't know about it with all the different parents involved because parents were a problem, guys, because they were having to sign the kids with the parents, and it was like six kids initially, whether six, four, or whatever. Parents are a problem because you don't get to have total control of the artist, the young one, the child. If you have the parents around, they get to stop this and block that. They bring the lawyers, they see what's going on, they fight it. So that's the problem. So he says, now Randy was a colleague. He wasn't necessarily over me, and that was just his opinion. So I stayed on the fact that we got to get these girls to Columbia. I remember telling Randy at that time, if you don't understand, they're going to make a doll out of that girl. This is Beyonce they're talking about because this is the strategy. The book is also a part of the strategy. I know this. I see this down the line that this is what it'll be. He agreed. Beyonce was definitely star quality, but he just didn't know. Teresa always felt the same way I did. She always felt like Beyonce was a star and that the group as a whole was great. They were going to be something, she felt. Splitting off the four Toya and Tavia's move to get own management shows how much Matthew's strategy had worked. So Matthew was talking about having two 22, 23-year-old grown men from Jagged Edge on the tour bus with Destiny Child because this is what sparked the split with Toya and Tavia. Quite as it gets. He said, I put them, but he was managing Jagged Edge at the same time, he said. He said, I put them on the same tour bus because I managed both of them. It would have saved both groups a significant amount of money not to have them on two buses rather than one. Then there would be times when they would stop and stay in hotels. One of the chaperones at that time, because the chaperones kind of switched out, wasn't the strongest. And I got a call one day from Kelly and Beyonce. It was basically, we're really tired of this harassment by Jagged Edge. They were sick and tired of being harassed by two of the members of the boys group. That's when I had to make a decision. In Baton Rouge, Louisiana, I told those young men not to be on the bus anymore. And that's where the situation culminated into the split between the group that was slowly brewing. I received a letter at my office. Actually, it was faxed to me at first and then sent certified from an attorney in Dallas. It said basically that on an interim basis, he was Latavia and Latoya's manager, and that they would. Latoya and Latavia's power play did not work because Matthew had been playing his position and he had the two stars, Beyonce's look and Kelly's voice. I'm just, I'm just catching the tea, y'all. So he says to the labels that I think you're making a really bad choice here. I leave it at that. He says, if my timeline is correct, the girls were not even 18 yet, still young and naive to business. Beyonce didn't ultimately make the final decision on this idea. This is them explaining away the split and making it not Beyonce's fault. But she got the heat that she did. I made the decision that he she got should have been directed towards me, not towards her. That's why she was so depressed for a period of time because she had wanted to try to make it work. She didn't want to see the group break up and make changes, but they were also young, kids still. The other thing people have to understand is that the label had to support this decision because ultimately the label is the final decision maker. Duh. Donnie Yenner supported it. I called him and I said, Donnie, this is what might happen. His response to me was, Matthew, I don't give a shit about the other girls. As long as Beyonce and Kelly are still in the group, we're fine. You go out and you get two new members, three or one, it's your decision. This is the first time people are hearing what really happened. Latoya and Tavia's power play did not work because Matthew had been playing his position with the label heads and they knew what was going on. And he had the two stars, Beyonce's look and Kelly's voice. Daryl is talking and he says, I was getting frustrated with Matthew because he didn't know music like I did. But looking back on it all, we both had egos and we both wanted our respect. We didn't feel that either of us was getting the respect that we deserve. And that's where things began to sour. Sylvia eventually pulled out and the Electrica deal was over. Daryl had grown to love the girls and cared deeply for their well being. He had spent a lot of time with them. So when things didn't come to fruition, it was a hard situation for him. I'm a true believer that things happen the way they're supposed to happen. Beyonce would have been successful regardless. As a matter of fact, I wanted to name the group Beyonce. Okay, Daryl. I was I was into one name groups like Van Halen, and I thought the name Beyonce was so different and creative. But Matthew said that the other parents would kill him. He laughs. Me and Matthew may not always see eye to eye, but one thing is we both knew the girls deserve a record deal. I admired Matthew in his business sense. Okay, okay. You wanted to name the group Beyonce. Okay, all right. All right. All right. Matthew goes on to say, I don't say in the end they all broke up as this incarnation because Matthew holds the rights to Destiny's Child, the name and the product and everything Destiny Child, I believe still. So he says, I don't say in the end they all broke up as this incarnation, even as the final version of Destiny's Child, Beyonce, Kelly, and Michelle, once they parted, I don't say they broke up. They retired. I want to use that word because they didn't break up. When you break up, that's because of drama. They strategically retired. And when you retire, you can always come out of retirement. So I want to help make that very, very clear that the group has not broken up. They retired, but that team has been with them. Okay, Matthew. They retired. Yeah. Yeah. They retired. They were not broken up. Yeah. Matthew goes on to say, because of Destiny's Child and Michelle Williams specifically, I started my first label. Because the strategy after the writings on the wall was that they would do a solo album. Matthew had everything strategically planned. He said, the good thing is Beyonce, Michelle, and Kelly bought into my strategy. We did that in between the writings on the wall and Survivor. Matthew making sure the girls are not a threat to Beyonce's solo career by managing them away from R&B. He says, we did it after Survivor and the next album. Now, they all did their solo album. Now, Kelly was an international pop star, especially in Australia and Europe, and so her first album was a pop album. Beyonce, we know, was a pop and R&B artist worldwide. Okay, I don't. Okay, but Michelle was gospel, and Columbia Records didn't have a gospel division. I went to Donnie Yenner and said, look, Michelle wants to do a gospel record. I researched that industry. I'm not impressed. I can't afford for Michelle to fail because if she fails, then the brand of Destiny's Child fails as well. And we can't have that because Destiny Child never retired. And they never retired. They never broke, well, they retired. They never broke up. So the brand still has to stand. He says, you're absolutely right. What do we do? He said, I'm going to have to form a gospel record label. He says, all right, then do it. Columbia Records founded Music World Gospel, and that's how it was born. That's how we got started. Prior to that and afterwards, we had the Music World imprint, but this was truly a staff and record label. We named it Music World Gospel. I didn't have a joint venture with Columbia on Destiny's Child. He went on to say Michelle as well as their individual solo careers. He says we became the largest urban management company that was built. It did extremely well, but that took away a lot of my time from focusing on Destiny's Child, Solange, and their individual careers. Matthew steering Kelly's career away from the U.S. audience. It began to take away from me being a husband and father. I think it's important, excuse me, I think it's important that we talk more about their solo projects, albums, and the impacts they have because the strategy was that if each one of the girls built their solo careers, they were bringing back a larger audience to Destiny's Child because they were garnishing a large new audience. All of their solo albums debuted at number one. Then it often angers me, and Beyonce is my daughter, but it sometimes angers me that the marketplace and the industry forget the individual successes of Kelly and Michelle. Oh, okay. Kelly's first album had Nelly on the single and it went number one and the song won a Grammy. Kelly had a number one album outside of America, but she was hard headed. She didn't listen to what I suggested to her, which was to become an international pop star and not worry about America. Well, why wouldn't she worry about where the hell she was born? Matthew was stating Kelly's hard headed for wanting to be established in her home country is wrong on so many levels. He says folks got in her head and made her think that she should be an R&B artist, and they always try to compare her to Beyonce and saying all they do is help Beyonce, so she got off the strategy. No, sir, she was born in the U.S. and wanted to be marketed to the demographic for which she was born and raised, which is everybody's right. That's their right. He says she didn't follow the game plan and try to come up with her own game plan. Unfortunately, that hasn't been very successful, not at all. And I disagree. I very much disagree. He says Michelle stayed on her game plan for the most part, but for some of the same reasons as Kelly, she did attempt while on Music World Columbia to make a dance pop album that didn't work, right? As I said earlier, I wanted all three of the ladies of Destiny's Child to have a successful music career and an entertainment career even after the group. I supported their visions even when I didn't agree. I want to stop right there because I just want to say when I did part one of the series and I talked about Michelle, one of the things that Michelle said is that when Farrah wanted to leave and they were going to Australia, she told Farrah, like, Farrah, just let's do it because when this is over, we can all do our solo projects. But she didn't understand that the contract she signed, she would have to stay out of Beyonce's way for the rest of her life. Like, this is the contract that they signed, allegedly. Matthew says, I fought the media for that as well. I fought the individual fans for pitting Kelly, Michelle, and Beyonce against each other. Oh, damn. Okay. There's 7.5 billion people who live on this planet. Only 325 million live in the United States. Kelly was never supposed to be a U.S. artist. Kelly was the international artist. So while people are in America are say all about Beyonce, people in Australia are saying all these things about Kelly. I'm proud today that Kelly still has that fan base. We've always said Kelly would be the Tina Turner of Europe. You can be the same as Sade, both in Europe and Australia. That could be you. Okay, no, she could be the Tina Turner of Europe, the United States, Australia, goddamn anywhere. But the United States is hers, like by right. Yeah, just because she was born there, by right, it belongs to her. Sorry, all this gaslighting. Yes, yes, sis, you can be the Tina Turner, you can be the Kelly Rowland of the United States of America because that's exactly who you are. He says, a lot of hard work, but they're making significant money and they're getting older now. This is they're not teenagers anymore. They're women. They lasted through so much. I've said it once. I'm going to say it again. There was never, ever a breakup. There was an award show where they announced that they were retiring. You've never heard any member of that group say, "We broke up." They retired. You don't get fired when you retire. You decide you want to leave and you do. But the great thing about retirement is you can always go back, just like Destiny's Child will one day. Okay, Matthew. Hopefully, we'll do that one last record. No, not another record. I'm not so much hoping they'll do another record. I hope they do one more tour before they get older and before we don't want to see them once they've gotten older when bodies change. We want to see Destiny's Child now and remember them like their destiny was fulfilled. Oh, he was really advocating for that, huh? Destiny was fulfilled, and that was the title of the last studio album before their greatest hits. How prophetic that they named their last album Destiny Fulfilled. Matthew, I don't think they're coming back. I think everybody definitely is working on their solo album, their solo projects, and it has been successful in Kelly's regard. It was, kind of successful with Michelle. I hope Michelle never gives up, that she keeps going as well. But I definitely know that we'll be seeing new music from Kelly. Kelly's always going to be producing music. She's going to be bringing the music out, and the audience, are ready. We're ready to hear it. Ready to go out and stream Kelly Rowland. We're ready to see Kelly Rowland on our TVs. Papa, no, 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 no. We're ready to see Kelly on our TVs, and we're ready to stream Kelly Rowland, and we're ready to see 1 billion more streams, 2 billion streams of Kelly Rowland. Keep going, Kelly. Now, I strongly believe that they want the world to believe that Kelly has never accomplished anything worthy of speaking on solo, and that's why every interview of her is of her being bombarded with Destiny Child questions and not of her own accomplishments, and that's frustrating for me. And there you have it. We have bought the Kelly Rowland tea for you guys. This was part 2. I'm going to be bringing part 3 and part 4. Part 3 you should see more quickly. I will have that coming up for you shortly. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for giving us your energy. Cafetiere Labrish. You already know we're at 1,000 subscribers. Yay! 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 So you know that it is going to be more to come. We're excited. We're bringing the coffee, the tea, the lavish. We're sipping coffee, we're drinking tea, and we're lavishing about all these celebrity people. We have more to come. Looking forward to doing the next portion of Kelly's career. Let's see what other information throws itself into my lap. I'm gonna see what other information I can find and dig up and bring for you. I'm also going to be discussing more of her current projects and what she's doing going forward, and trying to figure out what Kelly has in store for us next. I want to thank you so much for your energy. Cafetiere Labrish, it's been great. And have a great evening. And thank you for sipping. Mwah. So how you stop this now? I always have the same problem.
It's just kill up here. Also, there was a button in the